Hello! So my friends and I are about to host ZeroPing retreat number 9, so this diagram is a bit out of date, we do about one a month, but I want to explain what ZeroPing is, the mission statement, and why it's more than a frivolous friend hangout, although those are valuable in their own right. So, the on-paper description is that ZeroPing is a weekend retreat for nerdy content creators. But you don't have to be a content creator to go. In fact, half of the people who have been to ZeroPing haven't filmed a video in their life. The only requirement is that you can't be the type of person to be like, it's kind of weird they're doing a hackathon, why would you do that? No, you have to be the person to be like, whoa, they're doing a hackathon coding this fun game, and I have these other creative ideas I'm brainstorming that I want to add to the mix. Yes, one of the goals of ZeroPing is to make genuine friendships within the edutainment space, because creating YouTube videos can be a very isolating career, but I want to talk about the comparison between these two other places where people make friendships, conventions like VidCon and college campuses, and perhaps ZeroPing sits in a middle ground between the two of them. So I've been to VidCon since 2016, and it is inspiring to see all these YouTubers I looked up to in a small space in such a fast period of time, but the issue with conventions is that they're too short. When you meet someone new on the convention floor, you typically only talk with them for about 5 or 10 minutes before you have to walk off and do something else, and you could even get dinner with them after that, but in both cases, I think it's not enough time to really get to know someone, and you're still kind of in performance mode to seem the most presentable to a new person. The issue with college is that it's too long. Unless you're on the typical 4-year plan, it seems like a waste to spend multiple years on some academic program just to make friends, especially if there's no career path ahead of that. The hope with ZeroPing is that it's somewhere in the middle. A weekend is short enough that most people can drop that even if they have a full-time job, but you're also lodging together and you're eating multiple meals together, so it's enough like rich time together that you can start to develop like knowledge of each other and inside jokes and, a friendship that's deep enough that hopefully you continue the friendship even after the retreat is over. Now, I love being a YouTuber, but one of my criticisms of VidCon is that certain sectors of it are too clout chasey. Like there's so many dinner parties where it feels like the main thing people are trying to suss out is how many followers everyone has and how many opportunities you can glean off of them instead of the art form of video creation and community building. Now, the issue with college, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is that it might be not clout chasey enough, and that sounds like a good thing, but what I mean is, I feel like some academics in that space are so focused on just doing research papers that they're not trying to appeal to a broader audience or inspire the next generation of people. So when I was making computer science videos while at Stanford, and they're getting millions of views, I felt like the vast majority of people around me didn't care about that, but I felt like, isn't there a value in trying to teach a non-computer science student why I find this field so fascinating? So in some ways, I wish there could be a blend of these two, and I hope ZeroPing can be this blend. We are a group of people who are genuinely interested in these subjects, but the way we express that is by making content online that we hope can get as many eyeballs as possible, because we want to share with the world why these fields are something that you should really care about. So I want to get people excited about the YouTube journey, like how to host fun events with fans to connect with their favorite creator, how to get their videos to do better in the algorithm, or giggling and screaming as your follower count reaches some big milestone like 1 million. These are things that people typically associate with vain, narcissistic internet celebrities, but really here it's just a mark that you're doing a good job of showing the world why they should intrinsically want to learn more about your favorite subject. Okay, I want to look at this through the financial lens. So a lot of people my age in their late 20s are focused on climbing the corporate ladder because they need to make a lot of money just to live, to retire early, or to support their families. It makes sense, without money, you can't pay bills and you can't afford to have a place to live or even eat. So from that point of view, it might feel like a waste, like who has the time to spend a weekend chilling with friends at ZeroPing when you could be doing job interviews, working overtime, or making business deals? But my argument is that if you can foster an inspired mind that just can't help but spawn creative ideas, projects, games, and videos, then that will be the most valuable asset you have, both emotionally and financially. Now I know this is a pie-in-the-sky example, but if you think of creators like Toby Fox or Concerned Ape, who created breakout hits like Stardew Valley and Undertale, they didn't even think about the finances as they were creating, they're just so inspired they had to finish this really well-rounded game, and all the financial success came later as a byproduct. Now, I know everyone's hearing that and thinking, the odds that any of us create anything remotely as successful as Undertale are 1 in a million. It's just slim to none, and I agree that's true, it's really hard to do, but the point I want to make that I don't hear many people say is that inspiration is not a lottery. It's not just like you spin this wheel and hope in the 1 in a million chance that you create the next Undertale. It happens through a variety of causes environmentally. If it's been multiple years and you're still surrounded by the same sterile walls of a corporate office, my hunch is that your odds of creating the next Undertale are closer to 0. I know that's not entirely true, and there's definitely case studies of people doing it anyway, but if you're in the office, you're surrounded by the same people every day, the same mindset of let's help this corporation make money, and you're not getting enough variety to really think in a different way and spark a new chemical reaction in your brain. And also, we noticed that pop stars tend to always be very young people in their late teens, early or late 20s, like Billie Eilish. And there's been a lot of studies trying to analyze why that is, but I believe that it's not as biological as people claim, and has more to do with the fact that young people are just going through a much more diverse set of experiences. From high school to college, they're surrounded by an ocean of new people that make them think in a lot of different ways, intellectually, romantic, or not. So the hope with ZeroPing is that I can sort of emulate that experience without all the drama and stress of high school. These people are all just here because they're interested in STEM just like you are. And I can try to speak to this myself, although I know this is just anecdotal, but I can think of at least 3 instances in my own life where I was inspired by something I saw at school that notably I would not have sought out on my own, that I then went on to make something similar in my own time that would then go on to make enough money to live off for a few years. And I want to point out that now that I live independently from school and I'm not interacting with as many people, I do not think I'm as likely to create projects as pivotal as these because I'm not in the mix of general society as much now that I live on my own. So here's what I hope happens mathematically at ZeroPing, although this is a massive oversimplification. But if you come to ZeroPing, I hope there's a 1 in 3 chance that you make a close friend through that experience. And then if that happens, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you and that close friend decide to start some creative project together. And from that, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you make a significant amount of money from that project. I know that's extremely debatable, but hear me out. If you go to ZeroPing, you'll be interacting with a lot of people who have become successful through that sort of process, so you learn a lot more about what works and what doesn't work. And again, I don't think this is a random chance thing. If you start to know the tricks, it becomes more of a numbers game. You just start to be more likely to do it. And also, if the chances are much lower, like 1 in 10 or 1 in 50, still, when you multiply all this together, wouldn't you take a 1 in 100 chance to never have to work for a boss again, or never have to worry about paid time off again because you just own your time? I know I'm very lucky to be able to be in that position now, but I've always felt that financial freedom is the best thing ever because you just don't have to report to anyone. And I guess I'm also just really cynical about the billionaires of this era, from Mark Zuckerberg to Larry Ellison and Elon Musk, that I just feel like it's very vindicating to be able to say, no, the only avenue to make money is not through making you richer through some enshittification of these apps that now take over our lives. I can also make money by actually connecting to fans and making a product that they want to see. And I don't know if that's too high and mighty or whatever, but I just feel like it doesn't feel good when the reins of this entire world are controlled by people that I don't fully agree with, and I just like going on my own. And yes, I know that also me uploading videos to YouTube is also making Google richer because they're making ads cents off of my video. So it's not like I'm separated from this whole system. And I also know that people who need to just pay bills to live are not doing anything bad by working for big companies. But that's just how I feel that isn't it really refreshing to be able to define your own finances that way? I just feel like ever since I started doing that in 2012, I'm just everyone else, you can do it too, and it's not that hard, and it feels really good, and I just want you to feel the same way that I felt in 2012. And I don't know, I just think that the billionaires I just have nothing in common with, so I don't want to be part of their team. So yeah, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then you can sign up for ZeroPing by filling out the Google form in the description. Also, most ZeroPings happen on the West Coast. But also, aside from all the high and mighty stuff that I just talked about, ZeroPing is just a lot of fun because we get to do a lot of fun activities as a friend group, like going through submarines or just hiking through the mountainside, just getting a break from all the city life that most of us have become accustomed to. So yeah, I hope to see you at a ZeroPing soon, and hopefully this explains why I want to do all of these things. Anyway, see you later, goodbye!